Brandee Younger. Brandee Younger. Can I just start like that? We're in a bar, which is fantastic.
Yep, this is awesome.
It's just down the road from the gig you're doing tonight.
Yeah.
And I have just looked at the line outside of the gig, which is humongous.
Yay!
And I suppose I wanted to start with discovering how you appeal to so many people through an instrument that is so mystical.
It is, it's kind of antiquated, and when I was younger, my mom used to always say, you need to play something people know. But, I'm practicing months and months and months to play my little song that I've been working on. So she would say, you know what, do that one and then do something people know.
Right.
So that people could relate to it. They tend to gravitate towards things they know. So I think that kind of stuck with me throughout. So I would always try to incorporate the instrument into styles of music that I was listening to for fun. I grew up in New York. I'm New York born and raised, so I'm like listening to hip hop, listening to R&B, so I'm like, ooh, can I play that on harp? So I think that might be a part of why it's relatable. But then of course the instrument is old. I'm studying classical music, I'm playing jazz. A lot of those things tend to appeal to an older demographic. So nice mix up.
Well, it looked like it was a really young demographic, and I was interested, and I know one of your passions is getting people to know about the harp. But it's an instrument that, when you think about it, is not the first thing you would give to a child and go, well, here's an instrument you should play. How did that come about?
There was a woman at my dad's job who played harp as a hobby. So he said, my daughter's musical, can my wife and I bring her over? So I play flute. So we'd play little flute and harp duets. And she mentioned to my parents that if I were to take the instrument and get serious and get good, I could probably get a scholarship. And that's all parents really want to hear, that word. Because school is expensive back at home. It's ridiculous, actually. So that, in a nutshell, is how I got roped into it. But you start on a smaller harp.
Wow. Okay.
So it's much more approachable and accessible when it's this big.
Yeah.
It's when it becomes a car, the cost of a car and the size of a car, that the reality really sets in.
How do you tour then? What's the touring secrets we need to know?
We were just talking about that on the plane today. We have to source locally, just like a piano player would, but it's not easy. So keeping personal relationships is really helpful, and that's the key for when there aren't harp shops in a certain area. So a lot of times we'll have a personal. So in Portugal, we had a harpist's harp, their personal instrument.
And how do you prepare for gigs generally? I mean, because obviously you've got this new instrument that you are playing, you go into a rehearsal, you haven't felt it. I mean, it's a very tactile thing.
It is, harp de jour. Not only that, I don't have anything to warm up on in the hotel room. So I rely on each sound check. I just do some scales and some arpeggios just to get acclimated to the spacing, and the tension, because every harp is different. Even if I request and receive a specific model, it can be the same model every night in a different town, but every tree is different. Every tree is different, the wood is made out of, and also the strings and the tension. So I just do the best I can.
Do you have presumably at home you have a favorite harp that you're,
I do not have a favorite. They are all my children, and I love them all the same. Thank you.
Okay, message from Mom.
I am not about to get caught up out there.
I don't want any I don't want trouble. I want trouble. Let's talk about the album Brand New Life, which of course revisits and explores the music of Dorothy Ashby and Alice Coltrane. Tell us a bit about what they mean to you as artists and why you have continued to plow that furrow.
When I was younger, and doing the thing that my mom said, play something people know, I would always look for examples, and I didn't see any. I didn't hear any. So it really wasn't until my dad gave me this Alice Coltrane compilation CD, and I was like, ooh, what's this? It was Blue Nile. I had never heard harp in that context before, in a rhythm section with bass and drums. I was like, this is kind of cool. But to hear the music and to be able to relate to it, then to see her and like, oh my gosh, she looks like me. Prior to that, all of the harp activities, I was always the only Black person there. And the internet existed, but it wasn't what it is today. So if you heard about a Black harpist, it was like, I used to know someone, or I saw someone 25 years ago, that's what it was. So learning Alice Coltrane's music, and then I think my first introduction to Dorothy Ashby was through If It's Magic by Stevie Wonder.
Yes, and you of course have covered that.
But then also hip hop samples, and then seeing her, I was like, whoa, I relate to this music, I relate to this instrument, and I relate to these women. They were Black women playing a harp. They were women playing harp in this non-traditional genre. And they were women in jazz, so it was something for me that I just finally felt like, wow, representation.
And representation with regards to any instrument is interesting, but for the harp in particular, I mean, you have opened the door for so many people who would never have thought that the harp could be something they could access.
Yeah, so culture aside, I did want exactly what you just said. I didn't, it's important that a kid sees it and they know that they can play it if they want to, that they don't have to be rich. That instrument is expensive. You don't have to be rich or part of this elite class to access it. And sometimes all it takes is just you seeing it. So if you see it, it's in the back of your brain somewhere, and you know that it can be for you should you choose.
Let's talk about the interplay between you and musicians. I'm obsessed with Unrest Part 2.
We'll be playing that tonight.
I feel like, And the reason why I'm obsessed with it is the interplay between you and the bassist. That gets me every time. Can you talk us through it?
Well, because I'm a clown, you want to know something funny?
Go on.
There's this these comments under the tiny desk, and someone was like, wow, the way the bassist is watching her fingers. He said, if I was watching her fingers, I would not be where I'm supposed to be in the song. That's really funny.
Because he's playing so quickly, you're playing so quickly.
I know. But that song in particular, it's a 2-movement piece. Yeah. The first movement was for solo harp, and the second movement was for the band. The piece was really composed to reflect what was going on right then at that time. Yeah. Lots of protests going on. I just kind of stare out my window and see what's happening. And I wanted the piece to reflect that. And the more we we recorded it, but it never landed on my album. Yeah. It's a digital, you can only get it online, which is, I feel bad because after concerts, people want that. I'm like begging the label, can we please do this as a single or something? Hello. But, so it kind of took on this identity all on its own, by itself. And just the dynamic between the band and I, actually the bassist is my best friend, but having the connection between the three of us really makes a difference in the music and how it comes across, because these are not just colleagues. Yeah. They're friends. Yeah. And any band will tell you when you're on the road, you're family. Yeah. You become family. You spend so much time, way too much time, with each other. You can't always be your best self.
Well, we get to learn your best self, so to speak. Yeah, no.
Best and worst, but it's all love.
Yeah,
and great camaraderie between the three of us.
And I mean, obviously you're on the road with these people, so you're working together. But cast your mind back to when you first start the process, working with new musicians. What is that like?
It's trying it again, and we'll try a little differently, or we'll just leave it like that. But what happens is, with Unrest specifically, the bass player said, Rashawn Carter, he goes, on my solo, I don't want it to be free anymore. Could we do this? Could we add this structure there and then go free there? So things morph into new things, and that happens over time, especially when you're working with someone new, or if someone can't make it, it turns into something else. And that's kind of special because you're creating this new thing. Yeah. And the challenge with the same 3 people every night is, okay, we gotta think of something new so that you cannot predict. Why did you just predict where I was going?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that fresh conversation you want to have every night, isn't it? It's that feeling of we are doing something so brand new right now.
And the chase for something new each time.
And that must be a thrill for you as an artist.
It's both. It's a thrill, but it's also scary.
But do you enjoy the scare?
You take chances, and sometimes you fall flat on your face.
And that's a good thing too.
It makes you stronger, I tell you that. I'm still here.
You're still here. You're still doing it.
I'm still here.
The harp is a really spiritual instrument. For something, I mean, every time I hear it, I listen to your albums, and there's a spirituality behind it. What for you is that like?
There's of course listening to the sound of the instrument, which is beautiful. Everyone's like, the harp is beautiful. But then you have to remember that harp is leaning on your body. And as soon as you play a note, it's literally like vibrating through your entire body. So this sounds so cliche, but you really do feel this connection with the vibration, which is why the instrument is so common in therapeutic music and music therapy for patients, because it is, here we go with the cliche, healing. It absolutely is healing. And I hate to always use those cliche terms, but there's a reason that they use harp for those.
But interestingly enough, then you cross genres. You go into hip hop. You see into those areas. So it's not about healing. It's about connection. What is it for you?
Exactly. It's exactly what you just said. Yeah. It was important for me to try to make the instrument fit into who I was as a person, because I was studying classical music and I'm listening to hip hop and I'm like playing the trombone. Don't laugh at me. In jazz band in school and in concert band and in marching band, and I'm like, all right, I'm playing all this music on the harp, but I need to somehow connect it to who I am as a person. And it wasn't until I did that full throttle that things really started to come together and feel more settled for me.
How many instruments do you play?
I don't play anything else. This was like high school.
Yeah, but you could look at a trombone for fun. For fun?
For fun.
For fun. I mean, I'm not saying...
I might get laughed at now.
No.
But I was serious.
Were you?
Yeah, marching band was my dream.
Yeah, this marching band thing, tell me a bit about it.
That was my thing.
Oh, was it?
Well, you know how in the States, historically black colleges, marching band is their thing. So that was like, my eyes were set on that. And my parents, I quote, said, what are you going to do, get a bachelor's in marching band? And they shut that down with the quickness. And you know what? I'm not mad, because if I had left as a trombone major or something, I'm not sure where I'd be today. No shade to the trombonists out there, some great trombone players, but I'm happy with the harp.
Yeah, but you still made it onto Homecoming. You still made it. Beyonce.
That's so funny in a different way. I didn't think about that. Thank you.
Beyonce got, she did the call. She's like, yes.
Thank you. I didn't think about that.
There you go back to your, exactly. Go back to your roots. You went back to your roots with your favorites.
The marching band really instills a lot of like discipline. It really folded over into, I know it's like all this orchestral stuff, but my friends are always like, how do you memorize music so fast? Well, thought about it and I'm like, well, you're marching band, you got to memorize your music. Everything you learn.
And that's an interesting thing as well. It's about the younger you are, the more embedded it becomes in your body and in your brain, so that malleability must serve you now.
I hope so. You got to keep exercising that muscle.
Well, you do, and you do it all the time. Tell me about new compositions for you, writing, doing new things.
It's funny you should ask. We're doing that right now. I just finished writing a bunch of music. We will be doing some experiments tonight with some new stuff for a new record. And I mean, what do you want to know? The process?
Yes, I want to know.
Do. It's probably a bad thing. I write on the harp.
Oh, do you?
I feel like the thing to do is to write on the piano. But I write on the harp to know, like, can I play it? Is this feasible? How's it going to sound? Because things sound different on piano, but if I'm right on the harp, I can exactly hear how it can sound, even if I'm writing for horns or for other instruments, different parts. But yeah, that's my process. I sit down, but I have to listen to a lot of music. Like when I exercise, I just have to listen to all different kinds of music and sort of wait for something to like just kind of hit me.
And how does, so that's how it works for you? Because some people are like,
I said it like I was some genius or something. No.
You are, Brandee, but
Well, thank you.
No, it's okay. You can take it.
It's not like, oh, I hear it, I write it. No. That's only happened to me once. It happened once where I heard it and I wrote it.
What's the song?
He Has a Name. So that was years ago. But that's it. And that was it was like, I was just so moved to, it just came to me. I wish things just came to me all the time. But in this instance, I sat down and I just drew on experiences from the past year or two that I've had. So that made it possible for me to get this music out. But also it was after 2 years of not writing any music.
Oh, really? Why?
Because I was busy. I mean, I'm still busy.
You can't be busy and inspired?
Well, what it came down, time. I do need some space. What it came down to is, hey, we need to put an album out. You need to write music. So I went upstate New York and I did lock myself in a carriage house with my harp. Yep, and Rashawn came and brought his recording equipment, and then Alan came, and then we tried the ideas out, recorded them, worked on them, and then recorded them. So that's the truthful process.
Do you see music as play or not?
No.
Interesting.
I see it as a combo of work and expression, actually. Really expression. I work too.
Yeah.
Work and expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious because I know you pass on, you teach, and you share with your students. How popular is the harp, and how engaged are they with the instrument?
They're harp majors, so they are engaged in the instrument. They've been playing since they were little. They have to audition. I'm at 2 schools at NYU. And the new school, and also the Mannes College of Music, same school. So they've been, by the time they get to college, they've played for years and they've shown commitment. Not everyone wants to be a performer though, or wants to pursue music full time after school. So that is something that I have to keep in the back of my head sometimes when I'm like, well, if you're gonna, and then I'm like, oh, sometimes they remind me that, oh, well, I want to be a psychologist actually, and I plan to go to school again. So I have to keep that in mind. But they're all really pretty incredible. I'm not just saying that because they're my students. They were incredible before they got to me.
Well, I'm sure they're incredible now. Can you talk me through any future collaborations, things you are, seeing as you've got an album already in your back pocket, we kind of need to know.
The album is baking in the oven.
Ooh, baking.
We plan to pull it out this spring or summer. I'll be doing a residency at SF Jazz in March, which we did it last year, which was just incredible. We did all the music from Brand New Life with most of the artists. Pete Rock came and collaborated with us, and Mumu Fresh and Michelle Ndegya cello, Micaiah McCraven. He produced the record, he played drums, Rashawn played bass, and we had a string section, so it was really special. We did a couple nights of that and a couple nights of Alice Coltrane's music with Robbie Coltrane. So this year we'll be doing the new music that I just wrote. So this will be the first time anyone really hears it, and it'll be arranged for a small orchestra. So I'm really excited because it's brand new music, so it's fresh. No one has heard it. We haven't played a lot of it, so that's happening. We'll be doing some work with Robbie Coltrane. You know, I do have Alice Coltrane's harp now.
You have her harp?
Life Goals. I actually recorded the album on the harp. So that's exciting. We've been doing a bunch of concerts promoting the Year of Alice. This is the John and Alice Coltrane home. I'm on the board there. So that's been really, really like life goals met.
What does it feel like?
What does it feel like?
What does it feel
to have the harp that's on the cover of the monastic trio that's on the wall right there. I got the record on the wall and I got the harp right there. So sometimes I lie on the couch and I just stare at it. Yeah, that's how I feel.
You said you had no favorite harps, but I think we might have found the favorite one.
That one is special. It's in a category. It's in a category over there.
Can we talk about strong Black female presence in music? Michelle Ndegya cello is one of my all-time favorite musicians. Incredible producer, bassist, what you name it. Dust to Dust. Girl, I heard that one track and I was like, okay, that's on repeat. That's just going to be on repeat till I get tired of it. Tell me about that collaboration.
So that Dust is on Brand New Life, and that's a Dorothy Ashby original that she recorded on the Rubaiyat of Dorothy Ashby. So what I wanted for the album was for any guest to really share a special kinship with Dorothy Ashby.
Yeah.
And some years prior, Michelle had kind of hit me up on Instagram like, I love Dorothy Ashby. So when we recorded Dust, I was just gonna play it, and I said, no, we need vocals on this. And I was like, why not shoot my shot? So she said yes. And I was like, really? Yeah. But the timing of it was so perfect because she had just done the Omnichord Real Book, and I had played on Virgo. So I was like, timing, baby. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I feel really, really lucky that she did that.
And I love the idea that she reached out to you, you reached out to her. We're living in a world now where we're so interconnected, you can do that. Who would you like to next shoot your shot with?
I don't always shoot my shot, but when I do, it's funny, whenever people ask, who do you want to work with that you haven't worked with? I always dug Marsha Ambrosius.
Oh, yes.
I just feel like she's so genius.
She's genius.
And I've never worked with her before.
She's genius.
Yeah.
Her legacy, there are certain people, you mention her name, her name in particular, you're like, she goes so far back.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think she's special.
Yeah. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for this conversation. This
has
just been incredible. I know you're about to go to your gig. I love the casualness of this, like, I'm just going to wander down.
I know.
And do my thing and then come back to the hotel. But it's the last tour or is last show of the tour.
This is the last show of the tour.
Is there a way you celebrate at the end of a tour? Do you?
No, we have such an early pickup tomorrow. So we actually we'll probably hang a little bit afterwards. And I want some Jamaican food.
Oh, do you? Has anyone got you any? Or?
No.
Oh, listen, you're in the good neighborhood.
That's what I was hoping. That
you're in a good
open late and we can get some food. So that's my plan for tonight after the show.
Yeah. Send your person for your person, whatever, to get the food. Brandee, in the meantime, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.